Hello again and welcome to the video. Today we have this Marklin model to have a look at. It's number 3308 and it's in their Hamo range, which I think is a remix of older models that they have possibly put into 2-rail rather than their normal 3-rail. This one is a BR class 85 steam locomotive and it's certainly a beast of a tank engine. It's a 210-2 configuration and what a size it is. Without further ado, let's get this out and we'll have a look at it. So we just have this very simple leaflet here showing how to take the body off of the chassis. It's just 2 screws, apparently just each side of the pistons, and then it just lifts off. We'll maybe have a look at the mechanism in a little moment. So here is the model out the packaging, and what a fantastic looking locomotive this is. It's got some real presence to it. I've already noticed that we have a bit of a problem here at the back from where the bunker has come off. Hopefully that'll just clip back in, but it does give us the opportunity to have a look at the back of this locomotive and you can see the motor there, and it looks as though it's got some lighting as well down here. So let's see if we can get this back on. So this piece doesn't seem to be wanting to go back in, so what I think I'll do is take the body off the chassis and see if we can get this part back in, and then I'll do the review after. Here are the 2 screws that they were mentioning in the instructions. I think this will be quite easy to get to. I'm just going to undo them. Now that the model's apart, it's more obvious to see that these steps have had a bash and are bent. And you can also see that this part is actually made of metal, as is part of the boiler as well, and it has plastic parts added on. I'm just going to bend this and hopefully it won't snap and see if we can get this straightened up. Okay, that's not too bad. It seems to be a lot better than it was before anyway. Now let's see if we can get the bunker on. It does look as though there's possibly some problems with the glazing inside. Okay, that just snapped into place and also proves that it has flush fit glazing because it popped into the window frames. So I've managed to get this piece back in now. It just clipped in underneath the back of the cab there. It was a bit of a snap fit and then it went in. It does move a little bit now that it's in there, but it is secure, so that's good. I think this model's had a bit of a bash en route to me. And these steps still aren't looking that good and they keep bending back in. So I'm just going to apply some glue onto that, push these apart and then just hold it there for a little while until it dries. While the glue's drying, we can take a look at the chassis here, and what an impressive piece of modelling this is. The motor is up here just in the cab area. It does actually look quite small compared to the size of this locomotive, but it seems to do an okay job, but there's an awful lot of gearing on here. You'll have noticed as well this circuit board here, which is held on at this point of the chassis, and it actually moves around a little bit. I think that's just by design. The chassis is articulated as well, and the gearing comes from the motor to these 3 wheels here, and then there is a little drive shaft running through to the other set of wheels and it powers them on the other side. You can see how the connecting rods have a degree of movement in them as well to allow it to articulate. So really quite an interesting setup this model has got. The valve gear is really quite chromy, but it does have real nice red inserts on them, and there's quite a lot of it. It looks very delicate as well, so it's going to be quite interesting to see this going on the test track when we test it later. The brake gear is also very nicely presented and in line with the wheels, and these are plastic parts which have been added onto the metal chassis. The 2 trucks at the front and the back are both metal and they have the Marklin lettering on it. It's upside down here in the video, but it definitely is there. And it has this metal coupling here attached to this bogie, and a similar one here at the front. They also have these pickups from the front wheels as well, which is attached to this part of the coupling. So it looks like you can unscrew this coupling if you want to at the front, and you have the same option at the back, so possibly that allows you to change the coupling, but it would have to be a specialist one. It isn't in an M pocket. The buffers here are plastic. However, this part of the chassis, the red part, is all metal, and you can see it has lighting here and also one at the front as well to give lighting out of these lamps here. So it's looking quite impressive already. The engineering here is looking pretty interesting and I can't wait to see this going on the track. So this model only has a traction tyre back here on this wheel. The rest do not, even though they're all powered. However, the metal chassis here, along with the metal parts of the body, make this a very heavy locomotive, so it could pull a good train, I think. Can't wait to see this going. Let's see how the body's doing and maybe we can get this back together. Okay, the glue is dried here, so I think we should just get this back together and then I can review the rest of this model. Okay, we've got the model back together now, and it certainly looks very impressive. Now that we've got all the parts together, it really comes together as a locomotive with a lot of presence. It's got some really nice moulding details on the main piece. Starting here at the front of the boiler, you've got this really nice door here with this extra part of the wheel added on here and a very clear number, the 85006. and the bracket detail is nicely moulded as well. We've got these nice steps coming down to these lamps at the front, and they have even these little surrounds in metal which can move back and forward there just a tiny little bit. We saw that there was a bulb, so I'm hoping it's going to work and these lights will come on. And then down here on the buffer beam, there's a little bit of detail, a nice colour of red there. It's not totally solid, but it's not too bad. And it does have this slot in it where this coupling, it moves back and forward. I'm not a big fan of couplings like this on the front of steam locomotives, so I probably will remove that. It has these plastic buffers here, which are quite nice, but they could have done with being metal, I think. So as we start to look down the side of this locomotive, this part here on the chassis, a little step, that's made of metal, so that's good, it won't break off. And then we saw these pistons as well already. They're very nicely detailed, made in plastic though. This piece of the main body here is in red with this very delicate line of red representing a pipe and this little white square here. So the painting on it is really quite nice. It's also got this little part here, maybe a marker or something, but that's very delicate, could easily break off, but incredible that it's there and so fine as well. We've got this part as an extra piece that's been added onto the main moulding of the boiler. And then we can see all the details here. There's so much pipe work and rivet detail on the side of this boiler. It's quite incredible, all the details that have been moulded in here. Here on the side of the tank, we've got some more rivet detail as well, and these indents here for the steps. And then some more pipe work here, which has been painted red, and you can see it's finely painted as well just at this point here. So they've really done a good job of decorating this locomotive. The number and some other details are a transfer here on the side of the cab, which has got more rivet detail, and these handrails as well. I think they're maybe extra parts, or if they're part of the main moulding, they've been done extremely well because they're so delicate, and yet there's still space behind them. We've got these railings going up to the cab, again with more rivet detail around. I've mentioned about the flush fit glazing already, and that extends to the window at the front of the locomotive as well. And then at the back where the bunker is, this part here, which is part of the chassis, which has got some really nice rivet detail and handles on it. There's more rivet detail underneath there on the chassis, but you've got rivet detail here and indents again to climb up to the back here. And in the bunker piece, we've got some more really nice handrails around here, and steps as well at the back of the locomotive here. We've got some lamps which we saw will be illuminated as well, fingers crossed, and we have some more hatch detail and a really nice buffer beam as well, and a really ugly coupling sticking out the back. The coal isn't so good, it's not a great moulding, but it's not too bad, and the top of the cab is quite nice. It's got these vents on the side which have been nicely moulded in there. And then looking across the top of the boiler, we do see that there is a bit of a moulding mark there, but it's not too bad. It looks as though perhaps it's been ground out here on the top of this dome at the factory, but there is a bit of a mark there. But it's pretty good overall on here. So overall, a really fantastic looking locomotive, and I'm really impressed with the engineering of this as well. Can't wait to see it running, so I think we should get it on the test track. Okay, here we are on the test track. Let's give it some power and see what happens. So we've clearly got some problems with this locomotive on the test track, but you wouldn't be at all surprised to learn that that's because of the minimum radius. If you look carefully when it was running, it did actually kind of jump off the track. Now I'm using Hornby third radius track, and yet it's still not good enough for this locomotive, even with its articulation. So that's something you really got to bear in mind if you're thinking about buying this locomotive, that your minimum radius is going to have to be really, really shallow. However, if you do have that kind of setup or just a straight run, this is going to be a really impressive locomotive to run on your layout because it looks great and it actually performs really well. It picks up really slowly, it's really low geared as well, so it gives you the opportunity to run this at a very slow speed and enjoy that valve gear going round. It's quite a heavyweight locomotive. I'm interested to find out how much it weighs. So this locomotive weighs 360 grams. So the Marklin Hamo BR85 210-2 steam locomotive is quite an impressive thing, I think. This model has got a lot of detail on it, and it also has quite a lot of dust on it, you can see as well, and it has some really interesting mechanics as well with the gearing on this. Hats off to Marklin for making a model which has got all those 10 wheels driven. It's really a limitation of this model and something you have to be aware of if you're considering buying this locomotive. That's one of the niggles. One of the other things I don't like about it is the coupling at the front and the slot in the buffer beam. It's a bit excessive and I think that wasn't needed at all. And it also has that huge excessive coupling on the back as well. It's going to be quite difficult to replace that. You might have to look to something like a 3D printer to make a part that can fit a coupling onto the back of this. But overall, what you're getting here from Marklin is a fantastic model. It's got a lot of detail to enjoy, a lot of different parts. And one other thing is that the motor is in the cab area, so you can't have any cab detail there. You can't have any figures like driver or fireman or anything like that, I'm afraid. But those are just small niggles compared to what you get here. This is a fantastic model with a lot of detail, really great engineering, and it runs really smoothly as well. So if you're modelling late era steam locomotives from Germany and your layout can handle shallow curves, then this would be a fantastic model to add to your collection. Let me know what you thought about my analysis in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel grow. I'll put this on the turntable so you can see all the way around. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. See ya!